Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to Shloka a Day. Today's Shloka is Shloka number 2 of chapter 8. So in yesterday's Shloka, we heard Arjuna asking 5 questions. And today Arjuna will ask 2 more questions, although one question has 2 parts, so you could say it is 8 questions in total. So let's look at today's Shloka, which is Shloka number 2. Adhiyajñah katham kotra
Adhiyajñah katham kotra
dehesmin madhusudana
dehesmin madhusudana
prayanakale cha katham
prayanakale cha katham
yeyosi niyatatmabhihi.
Jñeyosi niyatatmabhihi.
Word for word meaning and translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Adhiyajña,
Adhiyajña,
the Lord of sacrifice.
the Lord of sacrifice.
Katham,
Katham,
how.
how.
Kaha,
Kaha,
who.
who.
Atra,
Atra,
here.
here.
Dehe,
Dehe,
in the body.
in the body.
Asmin,
Asmin,
this.
this.
Madhusudana,
Madhusudana,
O Madhusudana.
O Madhusudana.
Prayana kale,
Prayana kale,
at the time of death.
at the time of death.
Cha,
Cha,
and. Katham,
katham,
how.
how.
Jneyah asi,
Jneyah asi,
you can be known.
you can be known.
Niyata atmabhihi,
Niyata atmabhihi,
by the self-controlled.
by the self-controlled.
Translation: who is the Lord of sacrifice?
Who is the Lord of sacrifice?
And how does he live in the body, O Madhusudana?
And how does he live in the body, O Madhusudana?
And how can those engaged in devotional service,
and how can those engaged in devotional service
know you at the time of death?
Know you at the time of death?
So depending on how you split the questions here, you could either say these are 3 questions or 2 questions. So who is the Lord of sacrifice, which is who is Adhiyajña, and how does he actually live in the body? And Arjuna is addressing Krishna this time as Madhusudana. In Shloka 1, Arjuna had addressed Krishna as Purushottama. And the last question Arjuna asks is, how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? This Prayana Kale term was used by the Lord in the previous chapter, and therefore Arjuna is asking that question. So how is it possible to actually remember you at the time of death? So let's look at how this shloka actually is described by Srila Prabhupada and some other Vaishnavas as well. So generally, at least in Vedic culture, we understand that there is Jivatma and there is Paramatma. And the Paramatma is actually residing within the body of each Jivatma. So that's clearly understood. But here, Arjuna's question is, how does he actually reside in the body? It's not whether he resides in the body, it is how does the Lord actually reside in the body? Krishna has also talked about how if one can remember him at the time of death, that one can come back to him. So the next question Arjuna asks is, how is that possible to remember the Supreme Lord at the time of death? So different names are used to glorify the Lord. Yesterday, Arjuna called the Lord Purushottama. And here in Shloka 2, he is using the term Madhusudana. Madhu is a demon killed by Lord Krishna. So it's almost as if Arjuna is saying, you are the killer of demons, demons like Madhu. But we also have internal demons like doubts and misconceptions. So since you've killed demons like Madhu, you can also kill this doubt that I have. These 8 questions and the doubt of whether we can really remember Krishna at the time of death. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, Adhi Yajna. There are 2 personalities that are considered to be Adhi Yajna. One is Indra and one is Lord Vishnu. Both of them are considered the lords of sacrifices, those who accept the sacrifice. However, the difference between the 2 personalities, Prabhupada writes in the purport, is that Vishnu is the chief of the primal demigods. The primal demigods means the 3, Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva. Whereas Indra is the chief of the administrative demigods. So that's the distinction of Adhi Yajna between Vishnu and Indra. Vishnu is the chief of the primal demigods, Prabhupada says, and Indra is the chief of the administrative demigods. But both are worshipped by Yajna, Prabhupada says. So what we need to understand here in this chapter is that whatever we do throughout our life, at the time of death, we will be tested. So if throughout our life we can think about Krishna, then at the time of death, maybe we have an opportunity to think about Krishna. But if throughout our life, if our mind is preoccupied with material things and material things alone, then at the time of death, the only thing that is going to occur in your mind or preoccupy your mind, even at the time of death, is going to be your material desires and material anxieties and things like that. Death, anyway, is considered to be an extremely difficult experience. It is said that it is equivalent to being bitten by 2,000 scorpions. That's how painful death is to a Jivatma. So when it is so painful and your bodily functions are disrupted, your mind is completely confused, what is the chance that we can really remember Krishna at the time of death? So that is the most critical question here for us, which is, how do we actually remember Krishna at the time of death? And that's the question that Arjuna is asking. And it is in response to this last question. Most of the chapter is dedicated to answering this particular question on how to remember Krishna at the time of death. In the next 2 verses, the Lord will very quickly answer the other 6 questions. And the last question, the Lord takes his time to respond to Arjuna's anxiety about whether it's really possible to remember the Supreme Lord at the time of death, considering that death is such a painful process for us.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.